Hi guys, it's Jen here doing my next lifted video with Christy. Today we're lifting Wilna Furstenberg and a layout that she did last week on her YouTube channel. I am using elements of her page today to do my own. I really liked how she did her watercolor stripes and the black and white contrast, etc. But I'm going to do mine a little bit differently. Because I wanted to use a little bit different color and because I'm not using a black and white photo like she did. I'm using this square 4x4 photo that of a butterfly, and I'm using my June Citrus Twist kit, and I was just going through it there trying to decide what I wanted to do, and my favorite piece of paper out of that kit was that striped paper, and so I wanted to use that as my inspiration for the stripes on my page. I had originally thought that perhaps I might do pink stripes or pinky purple stripes and sort of match with that flower, sort of how Wilna had done it. And then I decided instead to match the stripe in this paper because I really liked the paper, but I felt like it just wasn't working very well as a layer with my photo. It just was too much because the photo has a lot of quite bright colors. But I thought that as wide stripes on the background that it would be subtle enough to work. So here I'm just showing you my process. I was using a scrap piece of paper to match up the colors, and now I'm using a nice wide brush and painting these on. The colors look quite a bit darker right now than they will when they're dry, and that's what I was going for. I didn't want them to be really strong. I just wanted it to be an element of the background, and I really quite like how it turned out. I'm just mixing here a couple of the colors together just to get it a little bit closer to what I was going for. That peachy color just needed a little tiny bit of extra orange in order for you to be able to see it better on the background paper, and then I'm using kind of a it's almost like a greeny yellow. It's quite bright, but it has just a little bit of green in it, and it matched that paper quite well. And I've gone back over the pink, and I do again after the camera's turned off, just because it dried so light, it was hard to see. So there you can see I've gone away and let it dry, and you can see it's quite a lot more subtle. And I also cut out some cut files that were also from Wilna. They're from her summer bundle that she has right now, and all her layouts for the next month are using those cut files. So I just downsized them to fit this my square photo, and I'm using those also as the inspiration from Wilna. And I really like how they turned out. I have them sort of a little bit on top of the photo, mostly underneath, and it just adds a little bit of extra Wilna touch, I guess. Another thing that I used that she uses all the time, and she also used on that layout, was photo corners on her photo. Even though there's already a white border, these are just a little bit off-white, and I really like how that looks on her layouts. And I honestly don't think to do it on mine very often, but I had her layout up while I was working on this on my computer, and I just sort of looked over at it and thought, what are the elements that I like the best? And so I wanted to pull those out. Another thing that she does a lot is the black and white contrast. Her layout, which you saw at the beginning, and I'm going to link you up to her video, is a lot of black and white. It's a black and white photo, and the only color really is the stripes in the background. I didn't do it quite like that, but I still wanted to use that black and white contrast. So I'm using these thickers. These are the custard font, and I have to say, these are probably one of my very favorite of all time fonts, and I cannot find them anywhere, so if I ever do, I'll probably buy a bunch of packages. They're just, I don't know, they're relatively simple, but they just have a little bit of whimsy with the, the curly ends, and I just totally love them. And I've been kind of hoarding the one package that I have, but I thought using them for this would be great, and I actually didn't have any A's left, so you saw me use a C. And I can't remember what I cut off the tail from, but I used a C and something else to make an A so that I could actually use these. And here you can see, sorry for my head, I'm just putting, I had already put the layers together underneath. I used green and a yellow flower and then a pink just to bring out the colors in my photo, and then I'm using some liquid glue to put those cut files so that there's a little bit overhanging the photo, a little bit in behind, just to add a little bit of interest around it. And because of the background and because of the colors in the photo and because Wilna tends to keep things relatively simple, especially when she uses mixed media, I'm really not using a whole lot of extra embellishment on this page at all. So it's quite a simple page. The other thing she does a lot is she writes right on the background. Don't think she did on this layout, but she does that a lot, and I was thinking about that. So I just drew some messy lines on the background, and well, they're freehand. Let's say freehand lines. I'm drawing freehand lines on the background because that sounds so much better than messy lines. And just wrote down how this butterfly had happened to land, and we just happened to be sitting outside, and my husband got a nice photo of it, and I wanted to capture it because I thought it was really beautiful. I'm also using, for that black and white contrast, some black mist on the background, and Wilna usually uses India ink, but I'm using some black color shine, and I just kind of got the wand really wet so that I could get big splotches on the background. Last thing that I'm doing, which Wilna always does, is I'm then freehand cutting some of that white cardstock background and putting it on top of pattern paper. So she tends to do that a lot more often than she actually uses pattern paper for layers. So here's my finished layout and some close-ups. I hope you enjoy, and please go and check out Christy's version of this as well. Bye!